Shut the f up.
To outsiders, it probably looks like we live a very glamorous life. And in fact, we do.
We're all about cash, flash, crystal.
There's a lot of pressure to marry within the community. It's time for the baby factory to open up.
The Shahs of Sunset distorts the image of Iranian-Americans because it feeds into the caricature of all the negative stereotypes of Iranian-Americans seen as not serious people. So it creates a false dilemma.
I went to Beverly Hills High School.
I went to Beverly High. I went to Beverly.
So in the middle of all this talks of war, you have a mainstream program that's come out that has completely humiliated Iranian-Americans, particularly second-generation Iranian-Americans who want to spend a lot of their time and effort to be taken seriously.
Two things I don't like ants, and I don't like ugly people.
This isn't the first time that we've seen a negative image of Iranian-Americans, but in the past, the image that we've seen is as like these crazed Islamic extremists or these crazed Iranians that took hostages during the 1980s with the revolution, etc. And that is another distorted image, but coming from a different direction. The one example that I always bring up is The Godfather. When Francis Ford Coppola decided to make The Godfather, he said that he would make it under one condition, that it's a movie about family. So as an Italian-American, he got the film that's about murdering and killing and organized crime and things of that nature, and he turned it into a movie about family that when you watch it, you can appreciate aspects of Italian culture that are admirable to the average American. Now, if you're able to do that with a movie that is covering crime, what does the Iranian-American community have to do to get a more positive image? Because the journey that the Iranian Americans have had, it's no less than the journey that other people have had. And Iranian Americans are just as patriotic and are just as loyal to the United States as any other group that's come here for the last 30 years, and some even more have contributed tremendously to American society. Iranian Americans are some of the most, or probably the most educated minority in the United States. The first image that we want to get should be a positive image. And if it's not a positive image, it should be an accurate image. But even then, it's a very young community when we're talking about cohesive things in a way that you can accomplish a policy outcome without necessarily having to fight excessively with each other. With the second generation, you're going to see a shift taking place where we're not going to be as risk averse. We're going to be able to speak out. The hope is in the future that we have brighter days ahead of us, and we are just at the beginning of something bigger as far as forming a cohesive team.